Hi everyone, it's me, Beata Kelly Sunflower. So I'm sorry that I've been away for a little bit. I've got a few health issues, and I'm going to be undergoing surgery soon, so I'll be away again. But I thought I'd hop on quickly and do an unboxing, flip through, and first impressions of two decks that I received yesterday from Liminal 11, and they're called the Citadel Fantasy Oracle and This Might Hurt Tarot deck. So let's start off with the Oracle deck. The Citadel, a fantasy oracle by Fez Inkwright. The Citadel is an archetype oracle deck that is steeped in the magic of fantasy, literature, and tabletop gaming. Each reading with the Citadel will take you on a new journey through the gleaming city, experiencing new places, new people, and most importantly, new lessons to learn. Are you ready to take the next step on your journey? Pick up your bags, open the gates, and step inside. And this is a 60 foiled deck with guidebook, plus bonus game for use with tabletop games. So let's just open this up. So it's got separate. So you have the guidebook and you have the cards. So before we go into the cards, let's have a look at the guidebook. So it's 181 pages. It was published in 2023, and it's got a quick reference guide. It's got forward, a word from the author, your journey through the Citadel, how the Citadel works, card meanings. So you've got the courts, the academy, the crowd, the troop, gaming with the Citadel, spreads, and complementing the tarot. Then it also gives you a quick reading guide on how to use the deck as well, and Gavin, this is the page number. So it's a very good content page, clearly structured. So let's have a quick read from the author. Thanks for picking up a copy of the Citadel. This deck is a tribute to fantasy, literature, and tabletop gaming. So I hope that here you'll find not just an oracle deck, but a new world complete with a host of new characters to indulge your imagination with. During the process of creating this deck, I found myself building a universe rich with history as I illustrated the cards. Though some have certainly been designed as a little tribute to famous fantasy worlds, the majority are unique to the Citadel. As I was creating them, certain cards jumped out as if to say, I'm important in this particular tale, while others seem to share such strong connections that they are, in my mind, inextricably linked. So she just explains what inspired her to kind of make the deck. And she speaks about the journey through the Citadel. She tells you how the Citadel works. And then she gives you the card meanings. For each card. It also looks like they might have suits in this deck. Let's try and find out. I'm sure it says it has suits in the beginning, so let me just go back to the index. Yeah, so it has 4 suits. It also looks like the cards have got reverse meanings as well, which is quite good for an oracle deck, because most oracle decks don't have reverse meanings that I've come across. And I just want to have a look at the spreads and the links to tarot. So, in-game fortune telling. This deck can also be used to add divination to the game itself. Add an element of mystical to your game by having your players encounter a fortune teller along the way, and use this deck to give them clues as to how the story might unfold. You can shuffle the deck for a truly based reading, but be aware that this might disrupt your story. Okay, so you can use it for fortune telling. So it's got some spreads here as well. So you've got the court spread that talks about the situation, obstacle and advice, or where am I now? What do I aspire to? Potential obstacles, or what are my goals? What goals do I have? What path do I have to get there? Then you've got the academy spread, the crowd spread, and the troop spread. And then you've got the Citadel spread here. So there's all these different sorts of spreads. It says here, complementing the tarot. Though the way that oracles and tarot are read are distinctively different, they can be both used together to provide further insights if an initial spread leaves you uncertain. When reading a tarot spread, you might find yourself with further questions, in which case drawing an oracle card along with the spread can provide further clarification. There are many ways in which this can be read, but here are 2 examples designed for the Citadel that you might want to use. The gates. Make the 1 card draw before laying out your tarot spread. This card provides the background against which your events take place and may provide a broader contextual setting for your question. The castle. The 1 card to draw made at the end of a tarot reading and provides clarification on how to resolve any difficulties that may have raised in the reading. The tarot spread that you are using may include an advice card, in which case do not use the castle card as a replacement, but as a second voice to help guide you. I'm a bit confused about that because it looks like this is a system within its own right, and I think I need to actually read the book to understand the whole system. So let's have a look at the cards. So let's have a look first of all at size. So if I compare this deck to a regular Rider-Waite-Smith, they're about the same size but just a different shape. So same height, same width, but obviously the shape makes them different. So they're like a hexagon kind of shape. So each card has like a title and then some keywords. So the aspirant, ambition, diligence and setbacks. The assassin, ruthlessness and conviction. The catalyst, radical changes, taking control. The diviner, divine timing, evaluation. And the titles all seem to be in alphabetical order, so you can put them back once you've shuffled if you're like me and you like to put your cards back in order. The fate, accepting help and guidance. The founder, foundations and community. You've got the hare, unseen potential, hesitation. The hound, loyalty, chains, promises. The king, control, reveal or fortune. The poet, relationship, vulnerability. The queen, determination and sacrifice. The sleeper, cause and effect and clarity. The spy master, knowledge, distrust. The waker, awareness, reflection. The wise one, tradition and order. The occult, new projects and learning. The alchemist, balance, intention and distraction. The archer, biding your time, planning ahead. The astronomer, discovery and augury. The captain, taking command and teamwork. The cartographer, a crossroads, exploration. The champion, achievement and downfall. The enchanter, deception and trickery. The guide, inheritance and correction. The operator, communication and confidence. The patron, mentorship and finances. The priest, prevalence and faith. The scholar, investigation and research. The senator, discrimination and certainty. The warrior, perfectionism and burnout. The botanist, parenthood and legacy. The forgotten, missed opportunities, fear of failure. The gambler, loss, risks. The hunter, surfer-footedness and predestination. Sorry, my tongue's a bit twisted. The merchant, that looks a bit like the justice card, doesn't it, with the scales and stuff. Self-worth and trade. The miser, stubbornness and inflexibility. The moose, generosity and naivety. Pathless, difficult decisions, lack of directions. The pilgrim, opportunities and growth. The sailor, new influences and wanderlust. The shepherd, celebration and family. The smith, overthinking, taking action. The thief, seizing the moment, selfishness. The vengeance, overcoming insights of choice. The walker, the unknown journey. The adventurer, responsibility and expectations. The brawler, lack of empathy and confrontation. The chimancer, delivering news, collaboration. The dancer, self-expression and strength. The herald, small regrets and longing. The masquerina, hiding your true self, projection. The painter, productivity and creation. I like that. The puppeteer, explanations and apologies. The runaway, secrets, running away from problems. The storyteller, viewpoints and control. The tailor, attention to detail and pride. Oh, I like this one. The twins, self-protection and dual natures. The weaver, rediscovery and transformation. The witch, experimentation and rebellion. And I think that's the beginning of the pack with the aspirant. So let me see how these cards shuffle before I give my first opinion. They're quite easy to shuffle overhand. I'm not sure how a riffle shuffler would find this deck to shuffle because of the shape, the hexagon shape. The backs of the cards do appear to be reversible, as you can see. And it's nice kind of cardstock, just kind of like smooth matte finish. What are my first impressions? I don't understand the system that's laid out in the book. I guess I have to read this to find out because I'm not a gamer. I don't know if it's a gamer deck, I'm not sure. But I do like the keywords on the cards, and I do like the pictures, and I'd probably be using this as a straight up oracle deck or to round off a tarot deck because it has actually got quite nice keywords and meanings underneath. But I'm not sure if I'll use it as the system that it was intended to, because it seems a bit complicated for me, only because I'm not a gamer and stuff, and that's what I think it's intended for. But then this could be my own interpretation, just at first impression. You know, it's very difficult to give a review on a deck when you haven't actually used it or read the guidebook. So once I get better, or after my surgery, I might actually come back and do another video on this particular deck and let you know how it went and how I found working with it. So the next deck that I got from Liminal 11 is called This Might Hurt. I actually had the indie version of this deck and I really love it. So again, it's in these super protective boxes And as you can see inside, it's got the suit of the minor arcana. So you've got the swords, the pentacles, the cups, and the wands. This Might Hurt Tarot is a modern deck in the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition, keeping time-honoured symbolism and imagery, but losing the medieval context. This deck is designed to be easy to read and highly relatable. Images are modernised, diversity is embraced, and queerness is lovingly acknowledged. So you've got the cards and you've got the guidebook. So it's by Isabella Rotman. That looks like the Fool there. Again, another, I think it was first published in 2019 as an indie deck, and then 1111 took it up in 2023. I like a good content, because sometimes I like to be able to look at the contents and flick to a number and then choose the ideal cards when I'm studying the decks. So it gives you a full introduction on gender and tarot. It gives you the card descriptions for the major, minor, and then each of the suits. So wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. It tells you how to read the tarot. And also it talks about reverse cards, which I like, because sometimes readers don't use reverse cards. And I always think that there's a meaning when the card's reversed. It's not the same meaning as when it's upright, in my own opinion. So you've got tarot spreads, talks about cycle of healing, path of the world, and special thanks. So let's have a look at this introduction. The writing's a bit small for my eyes, but I'll try. I wrote my book, Kitchen Table Tarot. Oh, I have that book. Because the language we used to speak about tarot had shifted, and I shifted with it. I wanted to create the kind of book that would have helped me when I was a teenager. One that would have made me feel at home with the cards right away, rather than waiting until I mesmerised all 78 of them. I wrote this book for my younger self, knowing that she would have seen the Empress as a mum and not her mum. I needed a book that would adapt to me and my awareness of the world, instead of forcing me to climb over the language, vernacular, and behaviours of everyone who had come before. This is why I wrote the Kitchen Table Tarot. I wrote in the Kitchen Table Tarot that new tarot readers should buy the regular Rider-Waite-Smith deck. You know, the straight white deck we'd all grown up with. I advise new readers that once they're familiar with the card meanings, then they should look for the deck that had their faces in. This book was published in 2017. Isabella Rotman decided that it was stupid to settle and created a whole tarot deck in the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition that looked like all the folks in our community. It helped tarot become less mysterious with my work. Rotman and a handful of others have placed black folks, queer folks, disabled folks, indigenous folks, fat and thin, and old and young, and sexy and asexual folks, and in the place of those straight white folks, men. I really love artists. A year or so later, I found This Might Hurt Tarot. It was literally the deck that I had dreamed of creating myself, but I don't art. It had my friends in it. It had my fat, amazing art in it. It had the tradition of the Rider-Waite-Smith that I'd been teaching for a decade, with the faces and skin colours and sexualities and genders of the community around us. I started writing my second book, Tarot Elements, with Isabella's deck right in front of me, as intersectional and inclusive as she was. I was tickled to discover that she had read my first book while she was creating her deck. We have come full circle, as tarot often does. As we learn better, we do better, and on and on. The tarot deck has young face in it and the faces of your friends. It will not pull its punches, but that's not why you bought it. Got it because in order to heal and grow, this might hurt a little, but you can always grin with a mouthful of blood and know that it was worth taking a hit. Melissa Conniver, she, her, creator of the Kitchen Tarot. Okay, so So it gives you an introduction. It talks about on gender on the tarot, the major arcana, and then it goes into each of the cards. So it gives you a picture and a blurb. There doesn't seem to be any reverse meanings. It does that for the major. Let me see how the minor arcana. The minor arcana is set up the same way, but in the minor arcana, kind of like a sentence or a key sentence and a blurb, and maybe slight pictures of the cards. It tells you how to read tarot, how to perform a reading. It tells you about reverse card meanings, which I like to see in a book, personally. But it doesn't give you it doesn't seem to give you the reverse meaning though for each of the cards. It just gives you a section on reversed. But I would have liked to have seen next to the meanings the reversed meaning too. So maybe this author doesn't believe in reversed meanings. Cycle of healing spread, the world spread, and the specialist thanks. Gives you a bibliography. Okay, so it's quite a meaty little guidebook. And how many pages is it? It's 137 pages. So let's have a look at the cards. So if I compare it to my regular RWS, it's about the same size. These are quite shiny and stuff. Okay, let me just see. That's, oh, this is interesting. So that's upright, and this is a reverse way. So they are reversible backs, but they're interesting. Okay, so let's have a look. They're not edged in this version. And because they're quite plasticky or quite glossy, I think it would be quite hard to edge this if you wanted to edge it yourself. But it's nice to actually appreciate the naturalness of the cards, I think. Oh, got a bit shiny. So you've got the Fool, the Magician, High Priestess, the Empress, the Emperor. I love that. I love how it's got the Aries and the Ankh in this picture. The Hierophant. It's got a young vibe actually as well. Sorry for the shine. The Hermit. It's a lady hermit or a she hermit. Death, Temperance, the Devil, it's Capricorn head on, Tower, Star, Moon, very shiny, Sun, Judgment, and the World. So there's not much, I mean, in the book, it spoke about age diversity, but there doesn't seem to be, so far, much older people. So the suits seem to be colour-coded. So you've got the wands, which are in this nice kind of peachy, reddy colour. Kind of very modern. I love that the Queen of Wands, which is my significator card, is kind of non-binary looking. And the King. So the cups are this lovely kind of bluish colour. I wonder what that symbol there is at the back of the t-shirt. Oh, this is more of an older person than 10. Fish out of water there. So you've got the swords, which is in this kind of like this kind of like turquoisey, tealy, I'd say, kind of colour. I love how this Queen of Swords is very full-figured, and I love her glasses. And then the Pentacles is a kind of lovely greenish colour. And then this is another card, which I think is called This Might Heal. That's what it said in the guidebook. It's got like an affinity as a number. So I do have this deck. I do have the indie version of this deck. And I have worked with it before. So it's kind of difficult for me to give my first impressions because I have used this deck before. But what I must say is that even though it's described as being all-inclusive, and including age and size, it still to me has a very young feel to it. So me as a person in my crone age wouldn't really relate to the archetypes in this deck because most of them are quite young. Let's see how this deck shuffles. See, I like this kind of card stock because I'm an overhand shuffler, so the thicker for me the better. But I don't know how a riffle shuffler would find shuffling this deck because they are quite stiff. So, you know, it's a modern kind of take on the tarot, a young kind of feel. I feel that maybe a beginner or a newbie might find the archetypes quite pleasing. I mean, I quite like the deck because I do like kind of modern decks and stuff. But we're all individual. It also reminds me as well a little bit of the modern witch tarot. I wish I had done a comparison of this deck and the indie deck, but by sight there doesn't seem to be much different, just apart from the cardstock. This is more of a shinier cardstock, and the backs are a bit different. And I think the one that I've got that's indie is edged, I think, in a kind of silvery colour. But apart from that, the actual artwork seems to be the same. So this would be a good deck for anybody that's new to tarot and doesn't like the traditional RWS imagery. And the Citadel deck has also got lovely keywords, and I intend to use this deck just as a oracle deck until I kind of have time to sit down and look at the system. I guess after my surgery I'll have plenty of time to read the guidebook and become familiar with the system, and maybe try to read this deck how it was intended to be. So I will leave links in the description bar. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.